Hello ladies and gentlemen, PlayAsia supplied me with this copy of this game, so if you want to support me and the channel, use the link in the description to go and buy something, and there's also a coupon code you can use to save a couple of bucks off your order. You'll be helping me out and hopefully you'll be buying something good. Thanks for your support, enjoy the show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Bloody Rally Show. Or as Sir Clive Sinclair in his portrayal on the BBC documentary Micromen would say, Bloody fucking rally show. I don't know why I made that reference. Nobody who watches this channel would know it. Anyway, this is a top-down racing game that recently released on Steam, and I saw it in the new releases, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, sometimes, or at some point, someone will get the top-down racing formula right in a way that I appreciate. Because I like top-down races, but all of them just seem to either A, lack soul, or B, are crippled in some way. As to what Bloody Rally Show is, well, let's go find out, shall we? Boring text pages no one will ever read. That's interesting. I take it these are special thanks. I'm guessing these are Kickstarter backers. I wouldn't know if it was actually Kickstarter or not, but okay, so yeah. Let's go have a look at the settings before we do anything. I am playing this on controller, by the way, because it's just that much easier. They do recommend you play it on a controller, and I'm happy to oblige. Because, well, that's just kind of what you do when they say that sort of thing. So, 2 video performance settings. Not great. Also, kind of hard to navigate this menu without accidentally going back out of it on the controller at the very least. So, let's use the mouse, at least for the time being. Resolution, window mode, VSync, and FPS limit. I've got it at 120. I don't know why it's stuck at 60, but I'm not recording any higher than 60, so that's not a big deal anyway. Also, particle density, that's kind of neat. Some visuals here, although these are more like UI things more than anything else, but okay. Minimap size and position, I've got it where I like it, because in most of the cameras, they'll let you see the minimap and let you look at it without having to take your eyes off what's in front of you. Very important. Also, UI scale works in a weird way. I don't know why the meter's like that, that just confuses me. Why is 125% not only smaller, but on the left side of the meter? It's just weird. Thankfully it makes an immediate difference, but what? Okay, gameplay, pretty basic stuff, although there's one here that I appreciate. Pedestrians take screenshots, so if you get a good camera photo from an NPC, that actually rewards you money and XP in the game, but you can also make it take a Steam screenshot, which is kind of funny. I find it to be quite hilarious, actually, although it's kind of annoying because the pedestrians don't really know when to take a photo, so when you go back and actually look at those screenshots, they turn out to be like nothing, so I just turn that off after a while. Camera stuff, you really don't want to pay attention to this because they do tell you in the loading screen tips that the camera for this game might actually make you dizzy, and if it does, go back and turn off things like the camera shake. You do also have the ability to change the camera in-game, but not the zoom, the speed, auto zoom, or the camera shake. You can also turn off the ability for it to run in the background, so if you click out, it'll just stop, which is nice, I suppose. Sound sliders, fair few of them. I actually appreciate that, so we'll turn the car engine sounds down a bit. There's a good amount of sound sliders there. Complete rebinding for controller and keyboard, but again, use controller, you can steer easier on it. So, you do have the ability to download tracks and cars from other players and use them in the campaign. I just thought I'd bring that up. I haven't done it because next to nobody has put anything up, and you have to start like a new campaign to do that, which is kind of annoying. It's also a daily challenge for the best lap times. Nothing like actually winning a race or anything, but then again, that kind of makes sense. You've also got leaderboards for a lot of stuff, as you can see over on the left here, if I can get the controller to work, because playing around on controller in this UI is actually really strange. For some reason, my scores haven't actually shown up here yet. I know that I've hit, like, way more than 500 people. I hit, like, 700 people in the last season. I should be in the top 20, but I'm not there for some reason. I don't know when they actually sync the leaderboards. And there are also achievements in this as well, like Steam achievements, because this is a PC game. I don't have any of them, despite the fact that some of them are literally just run over one pedestrian, travel 1 kilometer. Stuff that you'll immediately tick off when you first race. It's a bit weird. Like, look. See, it says achieved by 75% of people, hit someone with your car. I've done that, and it hasn't given me the achievement. As to why, I have no idea. So, you've also got custom race that lets you do things like time attack races and battles, but we'll probably see them in the actual game itself, so we can just go hop straight in. We'll continue with the previous game. So there is a plot. It's the year 2080 something. You've been in cryogenic stasis for about 50 years, and when they pull you out to participate in this futuristic car show, they're like, if you win 500 grand, you'll be able to leave, more or less. We'll let you go. Note the money count in the top left. I ended the last season with 490k in the bank, but it wouldn't let me leave. Then I started the next season, and it immediately put me up to 510k. I didn't even win a race, so I'm not entirely sure what the deal is with that, but it's quite annoying. So you can buy different cars if you so desire. I'm choosing not to upgrade to this one here because this one already has like better stats overall, including way higher mass, which can be really useful. And I'm not that far away from moving on to the Vagabond, which has like way better stats in general. So we're just leaving those cars alone for now. All the cars are also upgraded separately. So if we hit close, we can come back and check out our upgrades. If I can figure out the UI button to get up there. It's just a little fiddly trying to get through this. So you got 3 steps of upgrades. Oh, that was still working on the last upgrade I ordered. You can have a maximum of 3 in each one, but it's determined by your level. So you have to be a specific level before you can do literally every upgrade, which is kind of annoying, but there you go. You've got 5 stages to do, and notably you can also regenerate the track if you so desire. Just right then and there. It doesn't even cost you anything. You would think it'd cost you like a few points in the league or anything, but for whatever reason, you can just regenerate it if you don't like the track. I'm not entirely sure why they let you do that. You can also play as a pedestrian, but we're also not going to do that because it says it's dangerous. You can walk around, try and steal other people's cars, and then you get to use them as your own and you get to play in the league, which is interesting? Strange, but interesting. You've got your 10 races there in the middle of the screen. Now, I'm pretty sure that some of these are people that it's pulled from the Steam Online leaderboards, because I definitely do not think they would name one of their characters Wandering Jew. I'm pretty sure someone would get upset at that, but, well, I'm not going to say anything. You can also see your overall results for the season, including how many points you've earned in each season, and how many kills you've made, which is an interesting stat to track. Notably, the AI, at least on the lower levels, chooses not to follow it around that much. Although you can modify the AI levels, and I've actually tuned them all up significantly because, man, the default stat that it gave me was pretty damn easy to deal with. About halfway through the season, which is 7 weeks of 5 stages, I was basically wiping the floor with them. So, well, I guess we'll get to see that in action, won't we? So I guess we can play on the track that's named Dear Eggnog. Yes, that is a procedural name. They're all 2 words. You can also choose to name your driver randomly, but it's a bunch of like random first and last names, nothing special, like Byron Fletcher, Robert Pacheco. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce that. Those are the sorts of names you get. Well, there's not much else to see, so let's race. So the controls are pretty simple. Hold accelerate to accelerate, brake to brake. You can drift around corners if you so desire. Oh look, it actually gives me my achievements now. What the fuck, game? Seriously, I was playing this for 2 hours in one go, and it's like, nah, it's okay. We're not going to give you your achievements now. We'll just give them to you later. You can live with it. That's what happens when you boost for too long. You lose control because, man, they are pretty. Ow. They can be pretty iffy about the whole, you know, holding the boost for too long. So you earn your boost via drifting and running over pedestrians that are gathered in convenient clumps just to the side of the road there. And once you hold down the button, you'll start gaining speed, and the multiplier at which you gain speed will start going up slowly. And the longer that you can hold the boost for, the more of a benefit you'll get. And this is usually done by running over pedestrians on your way through. What the fuck just hit me? Seriously, I have no idea what I just hit. That's bullshit. Fucking nail gun assholes. Right, let's try this again. But yeah, you gain nitro by running over people and doing just terrible things to them. And you can try and hold it for as long as possible. Now, that multiplier has no upper limit, which is kind of ridiculous. You can get it up to something like 5 times or 6 times before your car is literally going too fast to control, even at the zoomed out. I really don't know. Like, look, shift tab, 2 hours, past 2 weeks, 2 hours total in the top left there. You can't tell me that I haven't been playing this for a while, so I don't know why it's only choosing giving me more achievements now, but there you go. But yeah, it eventually gets to the point where you move so fast that you can't actually control your car, and the recovery from that is not pleasant. Thankfully, I was already doing well enough that I had plenty of time to recover and get on my way, but, well, that's a thing. The track designs are all proc gen, by the way. They weren't being generated that first time I went to the menu, but trust me, if you go to a new season, you'll have to wait while the game stutters and stammers while it generates the entire set of 5 tracks from scratch. And you get to sit there and watch it, and of course you can choose to regenerate them at any time. And they're all usually the same thing. They're either straight circuits or closed circuits, and you just have to race through them. Sometimes they have, whatchamacallits, sometimes they have weaponry, sometimes they don't, and towards the end of every week, there will always be a special mission, and the special missions are usually pretty simple, but they're also kind of predictable. There's a couple of weird ones, like there's a one where you have to be constantly hammering away at the weapon button in order to throw out leaflets on the track, and the thing is, with the delay between firing your weapon and being able to fire it again, you actually basically just had to hammer away at the fire button the entire time. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had enough time in order to actually do it. So it was a weird mission. It was literally just race around the track and just keep hammering away at the X button, which was weird. There's a couple of other ones too, like they shrink your car, they engorge your car, they make it so that you need to kill a specific pedestrian, and sometimes if you fail, there's failure things, like you'll lose money or something else will happen. It's usually lose money or lose league points, but generally if you come first or whatever, it won't be enough to completely offset the win, so it's fine, really. There was this one that really annoyed me though, and it was hit 6 snowmen while drifting, and it was practically impossible to aim the weapons while I was drifting, so it was a bit of a pain in the ass, if I'm being honest. I really should upgrade my engine. There we go. This is going to be a rally one with weapons. You do have durability, but if your durability runs out, you just respawn on the track. I died mid-race, and I still managed to come back for a win, so it's not like it matters that much. But then again, with the AI being higher up now, it's entirely possible that the game might just decide to screw me on this one. The cars are heavy. That's the first thing I will really say about this game's steering. They are really heavy. M2. Well, great, I just pressed the wrong button and I dropped it. They are really heavy. The game is very based around drifting to the point where you'll basically be doing it without even meaning to. And, well, it's actually pretty enjoyable, at least at first, because the overall heavy feel of them gives the game a little bit of weight. It definitely feels like the cars are on the road and actively having to, like, make an attempt. We'll just send these guys off the road, because screw them, right? Hey, got a kill. The cars are heavy, they drift satisfyingly, and it's a challenge to race them, which is nice, at least to begin with. Almost had him, but that's alright. Coming second isn't the worst thing in the world. Although I lost to the Wandering Jew. I don't know if that's going to be a point against me by the alt-right, but there you go. More money, nothing to spend it on. More XP, but it's going up really slowly because, well, that's just kind of how this thing works. Still can't buy the car I want, although we can try and paint this one. You do get extra, like, paint jobs and stuff. You can just make the car look however we desire, within limits. They're all garish. They're all terrible. Good lord. This game's absolutely unfair. That's something I entirely disagree with, but we'll get to that. Yeah, the cars are heavy, collisions are satisfying, sometimes shit like that happens to you, and you have to try and... Well, it says here, I thought I had to try and get back on track, but sometimes it just does some weird shit. Like, the track generation is a little odd. Sometimes it'll let you cut corners with aplomb, but sometimes it'll just, like, make you go for the minorest of errors. It's a little bit depressing, actually. Oh yeah, sometimes the helicopter will come in and he'll be like, oh, I want to screw your day up. To which I have to say, screw that guy. But watch out for the oils. Man, those guys are dicks. How do they manage to pull that off? Oh, the director's in his car, right? I should probably make an effort to get in front of these guys. There are jumps there, as you can see, but I don't know if they actually do anything for you. I don't think they give you a boost. I've been over a couple of jumps and they haven't given me boost for it, so it's not great. Yeah, the overall driving the car is satisfying enough, but the problem is it just feels kind of thin on the ground, especially with relation to some of the other mechanics. Like, as I said before, you get a special mission every few races, but it often, as I said, weaves between the quite impossible and the surprisingly easy. You do need to run over pedestrians, but here's the thing about the way this game generates its tracks. Sometimes you have problems with actually, like, running over pedestrians because they've done things like put themselves in the middle of a bunch of those obstacles there, and you can't actually, like, get to them without putting your race car at risk. So you'll end up running into a wall or running into a bunch of trees or doing something like that. They're the best way to get boost by far too, but it isn't worth going and getting a bunch of boost from them if you're just going to run straight into a tree, a wall, or some kind of obstacle. So you end up spending half your time watching the mini-map, which is why I've moved it to the top middle of the screen so that I can see when the pedestrians are coming. Because if you move the camera in a bit closer... No, we better see what the mission is before we move on. Vice President of Diversity, oh dear. The vision drone settings? I see. So if you've already got your favorite camera, this basically means you just get 13 extra points. Unless they decide to screw with me and move the camera in by default. Bastards! Alright. Yeah, mostly you end up looking at that, at the minimap, mainly because of how it gives you a little bit of early warning of what's coming, because sometimes you won't be able to see things like pedestrians coming and be in the way of them, or you won't be able to see things like jump ramps or stuff that'll actively screw you until it's too late. Which really sucks, I gotta tell ya. Having something just come out of nowhere and be like, oh, I'm gonna screw your day up, is not satisfying in the slightest. Car-to-car combat isn't that satisfying either, mainly due to the fact that it works in a weird way that I've never really seen in a car combat game of its kind. Because you have to go through checkpoints to get weaponry, And then the weapons end up being things like wrenches half the time, which just repair your car, even if your car's like not damaged. Then you get things like rail guns, which give you like 3 shots that can absolutely like 2-hit opponents. And just other ridiculous shit like that. See what I mean by not having much warning about what's on the other side of the pedestrians until it's too late? Because the map doesn't tell you that the pedestrians are in the middle of some weird shit. It just tells you that the pedestrians are there. And do not change camera settings. So that did at least keep me towards the top of the leaderboard. So how did we do? I won the week. Brilliant. So that's a whole week. And every season is 7 weeks. And as I said before, by the end of the season, you get to get the ability to get out. And if you get out, you win. You can also lose enough races to not be able to like enter races, and therefore you have to enter as a pedestrian and make the attempt to either steal a car or just survive for long enough to get a decent entry fee. Which is an interesting concept. But I haven't run into it yet because, as I have mentioned a couple of times already, the game's easy enough, even with like surprisingly high rank AI. Like there's a 92 here somewhere, rank AI, and the rest are like rank 60 minimum. I made a specific effort to make the AIs around, this is out of 100 by the way, something that would actually be challenging, and they're still not really doing that much to me. The only time I was really hampered was when they actively changed the camera on me to something that's actually like not effective for the game whatsoever. The AI isn't really that competent either, mainly because, as you could see on the season screen there before I popped back out to the actual race. Hang on, let's fix that zoom up. Visuals, right? No, gameplay. There it is. Yeah, it says it's far, but how strange. Oh, I like the way the game resumes, by the way. It's kind of neat to have it go in slow motion like that. I don't know why it's bugged out like this. I'm assuming they're going to want me to change it and then change it back in order to actually fix it. Asshole. Yeah, I assume they're going to want me to change it to medium and then change it to far to actually properly fix it. But yeah, as you can see in the tutorial, not in the tutorial, the season screen, sorry, that goddamn cat. Man, these guys are super aggressive today. What the hell? In the season screen, you could see how many enemies that the AI had gotten around to killing. And it wasn't very many. I killed something like 100 and they barely killed 20 between them. So it feels a bit weird to not have them go after the AI, the pedestrians as much. I need to put this distance back. It's screwing with me. So if I put it on near, and if I go back to the settings and put it back on far, there we go. Why I didn't do that before, I'm not sure, but well. Run over some pedestrians to keep my boost up. 3.4. I've done better, but it gets me ahead. But yeah, they don't really take advantage of the... Whoa! What a douche nozzle. Well, at least they put me back on the road. Good job, Jump. Thanks. Yeah, it's a bit weird that they don't go for the pedestrians as much. Which I also find a bit weird because they often have like an absolute ton of boost sometimes, just out of nowhere. On the easier setting, it wasn't enough for them to catch up to me, but they're doing really well now. Like, they're keeping up with me despite me putting in a decent amount of effort to keep my boost up. I don't know where they're getting the boost from if they're not actually killing the AI, but... whatever. Still managed to win anyway. So yeah, the AI just isn't that engaging to play against, if I'm being honest. Oh, they did me in for corner cutting anyway, but it doesn't matter, because I already got like 8 grand off that race. Really wish I'd level up quicker so I could get that new car, but frankly, upgrading the cars doesn't really feel like it makes a difference. It feels like the only real stat that makes a difference is weight. The rest of the stuff is just like, yeah, take it or leave. It doesn't really feel that much different. Again, douche canoe. So all the races end up feeling a bit samey after a while. Sometimes you do get the weapons and all that, but they don't really make that much of a difference. You're still better off served by decent driving than, like, proper usage of your weaponry. Especially when half your weapons turn out to be goddamn golden wrenches when you don't even have any damage to your car. The special missions don't really add that much. They're kind of neat, but they just kind of lose their appeal after a while. You end up feeling disadvantaged by anything except, like, the really far away camera. And even then, the game can sometimes just kind of bite you on the arse. You do have the ability to play this game in competitive during the campaign as well, which is actually kind of interesting. Also, yeah, they will not penalize me for that kind of corner cutting. You can just go straight through it. The AI will just ignore it, well, not ignore it completely, but that they will follow it to the letter. They will ignore the fact that you just completely cut across the way. So as a result, all the races just feel identical. That's the main problem I have with it. There's no real engagement for me here personally. I've played like multiple races and the novelty factor just keeps going away. It's kind of neat that you can run over the pedestrians, but it just becomes blasé after a while. You feel like you're not really enjoying it as much as you were before. The fact that the other races are there just feels insignificant. There is a difficulty selection, easy, normal, hard, and hardcore, but here's the thing, they actually lock off hard and hardcore until you can win a season, at the very least. I don't know exactly what the conditions are. I think it's set it on the main menu, but I'd be lying if I said I could remember what it actually said. The director's focusing on me because he's a prick. Come on, leave it alone. There we go. Yeah, running over the passengers feels blasé. Thanks to the fact that you have to play it like this pretty much all the time, means that all the races start to feel stale. Probably not helped out by the prop-gen tracks, which just aren't that impressive in the long run. Sure, there's like a crossover every now and then, you know, like a T-intersection where you have to go up one way and then come back down the other, but that's about as impressive as it gets, especially since jumping and weaponry and all of that usual stuff ends up feeling so similar after a while, just because you have to run through checkpoints to get weapons, so... At first the game was alright, but then I just got bored. That seems to be my major issue with it. I got bored an hour ago and it hasn't really done anything to change that. And yes, there are like custom races you can play in, and you can, of course, go and make custom tracks and custom cars and put them up to the workshop, but I'm honestly not sure what difference that would make, considering that with the 4 different cars I've been playing with, they all feel the same, just slightly slower, and this one in particular is the heaviest one I've run into, which is great for getting other cars off your back, but outside of that, it's just the same. It's got a couple of neat things going on, like the story cutscenes and all that, but it reminds me of a game called, and I've done a video on this game before on this channel, called Bow to Blood, and that game did a much better job of using its procedural elements to its advantage. You would often have races coming up to you, well, not races, but enemy captains, excuse me, coming up to you in between levels saying, hey, you want to make a deal, like spread some credits, do you want to help me out in the middle of this fight, do you want to help us get to the top of this, do you want to help this guy that I like get to the top of the standings so that I'll like you and I'll actually do you a favor in the finals. No, at most this game, basically all this game has to it is just a mission at the end of every level to give you a little bit of extra money. That's pretty much all it's got going for it in that segment, and after a while, it just You just start getting bored. And I don't plan on picking this game up again, just because there doesn't really seem to be anything here to really draw me back in. Oh look, I have a saw. But of course I don't want them to be anywhere near me, especially in the middle of a bloody weapons race, so... What do they expect? Did I just hit myself with a fucking barrel? Of course I did. For the one time I need a wrench. Oh dear. Fucking oil slicks. But yeah, I've seen everything there is to see, and outside of the cars handling decently enough. What the hell? Oh, nail gun. Just get back on the road and it'll be fine. Outside of the cars handling decently and maybe getting a little bit of visceral satisfaction out of running down a bunch of annoying pedestrians, I really just... This game just doesn't have that much going for it. I'm sorry to say that, because it looked pretty decent, but... After the last, like, 50-something races I've done, they've all started blending together. None of them are particularly special or really have anything going for them. And the overall goal is just unappealing to me because I nearly hit it. Like, I was so close to hitting it by almost winning, like, every fucking race. And it was just like, nope. I'm actually being forced on feet? On foot? What the shit? That's not good. I haven't actually done this before. Oh, hold wire fast forward time, okay. That's a photo. That's a photo. That's a photo. That's a photo. And that's a photo. They didn't even try and run me over. So now I just get to fast forward. Excuse me. Well, they gave me a free turbo upgrade, so I can't really complain. Not to mention that I still got... Not only did I get, like, a ton of XP for it, and I still won the week anyway. But, yeah, I don't care. I really don't care. The racing is, like, the only thing that's even remotely, like, notable about this game, but it just gets let down by the poor track design due to the procedural tracks, due to the AI not being particularly fun to fight, even when you've got them turned most of the way up. The overall quality of the extra mechanics of the racing just aren't satisfying at all, and I just don't care. And that's a disappointment. I've been hoping for a good top-down racer to come along and replace the simplicity but outright addictiveness of games like Gene Rally and Death Race, was it? But it seems like nothing, just... Even Renegade Ops, which isn't really a racing game, but more like a top-down car combat game. But it's like cars versus literally everything else. But yeah, I admit I'm disappointed. The racing just isn't that enjoyable, and that seems to be the big downside of it. At least it runs and looks okay. Like, it looks fine for a top-down racer. At least the tracks don't look like they've just been slapped on top of a random environment. Although they sort of kind of do. But, like, not particularly. Not something that sticks out to the eye. And I was playing this at, like, uncapped frame rate and getting something like 200 frames a second, which... I mean, it is a two-dimensional game, but it does have a fair few effects and things going on, so I'm not too bothered by it. It's fine. And considering that I had everything on max and you could turn most of it off anyway, well, whatever. I wonder if I'm actually on the leaderboards now. Nope, still not on the leaderboards. Great! Yeah, I'm done. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.